Have you ever noticed that you wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time? Or that in a group, 80% of the work is sometimes done by 20% of the team? Okay, so that last one might just be my personal experience, but have you ever left an exam thinking, gee, I revised so hard for this or for that, but it didn't come up? Today, we'll be talking about how to achieve more with less, how you can achieve 80% of your results by focusing on 20% of the work. Hello there, my name is Khaled Zalmai and I work as a doctor in London. Thank you for joining me today. Today we'll be talking about Pareto's Principle, or the 80-20 rule. Now, this was a game changer for me in medical school. Not only did it allow me to manage my time efficiently, but also it allowed me to focus my energy on what I needed to revise. Now, in the spirit of Pareto's Principle, I want to give you the opportunity to skip ahead to the part that's going to give you the 80% value. So if you wanted to get that, just have a look at the timestamp that should be popping up now. But actually, if you want to come and follow us on this journey, hopefully I can fill you in on a bit more about where this principle came from and why it's so important. It was in the late 1800s that a chap called Pareto noticed that 80% of the land in Italy actually was owned by 20% of the population. He was an economist and he later went on to publish this principle, and I wonder if he actually knew the impact it would have on the world going forward. For example, if you look at businesses, what they do is they find the 20% of their customers who are making them the majority of their revenue, and their aim is to actually keep those customers happy. And if we look across to something else like tech, developers have realized that the majority of their bugs come from about 20% of their code. So when the newest game is coming out or a new app is coming out, developers will focus on that 20% of code to get the maximum effect from it. I know at this point a lot of you will be thinking, well, Khaled, there are lots of other ratios, could it be a 90-10 or a 95-5%? Why does it have to be strictly 80-20? I believe rather than a precise law of nature, I see it more as an observation. And the observation for me is that a minority of the cause actually accounts for the majority of the effect. So the take home for me here is that we shouldn't be bogged down with the arbitrary ratios and numbers, but the concept is more important here, and that's what we should be taking away. In medical school, before I would start revising for an exam, I would always look back at previous papers and I would tally up the topics that had come up. And what I found was that certain topics like cardiology, respiratory, gastroenterology tend to come up again and again, and they tend to take up a lot more of the exam. So rather than spreading myself thin and covering lots of topics, I would find the core 20% and make sure I understood all of the key areas there. And that way I could have the most impact with the time I had to revise. I would always make sure every morning I would prioritize my tasks so I could focus on the most important first when I was fresh. And I actually found that when I got the most important tasks done, by the time it got to the afternoon, I would actually feel good about that. And I would say, well, do you know what? I'm going to carry on today and do more. And often I would do far more than I would expect. Now, inversely, if I had not really done some great tasks, if I did some admin or tasks that I didn't want to do or just procrastinated, then it would get to the afternoon and I would feel rubbish and I would stop working. So I think, one of the take homes I would say is when you're waking up early in the morning, make sure you're doing your important tasks first. The key areas you want to get done for the day, focus on those. What's the point of sitting down for 10 hours straight reading a textbook? Are we really being productive, or is it more just being busy? I think what's more important is to focus your revision time, focus on what exactly you need to learn, and then go and get those objectives and actually get those things done. Now, how I began to achieve that was through a few different techniques. One of them was the Pomodoro technique. The other one was through setting SMART objectives. Now, We'll get on to both of these in later videos, but they really help me become more efficient with my use of time. It's fair to say that the 80-20 rule can be applied to all aspects of your life, but the tricky part is finding out what that 20% is to you. Now, I hope with the examples that I've given, you'll be able to have a look at finding out what that 20% will be to your situation. The key take-home message is to find what gives you the most value and to focus most of your time on that area. That's it, folks. Thank you for watching this video and making it to the end. I guess if you've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed the content. If you have, give us a subscribe, hit the bell so you hear about our next videos, and join the conversation in the comments. Tell us, what is the 20% that you will be focusing on?